Okay, and we are live again.
Okay.
Probably we are live, and if you can hear us or see us, please write the plus in the chat. Then, Mm, yeah. All right. I can see us. We are live. How is going, guys? How
So,
event? Finally. How are you doing, guys?
yeah.
Okay. Now I can see. It's interesting. How big is delay? Hello, dzień dobry. Okay.
I think it's about up to 20, 30 seconds.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool.
So
Good.
let's start. Don't waste our time.
You
Artem?
want to, you want just straight to the point and start. Okay, I'm ready. I want it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think let's just wait for a couple of minutes while some of guys who wants to join us will join us. And before we start our call, our event, and I hope everyone will enjoy this event and find some interesting insights about Playwright, about API, how to combine all of the things together. And write in the comments right now where are you from. We want to know where the Testament customers, Testament users here, or maybe you don't use the Testament right now, but you will use for sure after today's webinar. And also, I want just provide some information. So while the Oleksii will talk about all of things he prepared for us today, you can comment. Also, I'm sure that, and actually, it will be a good point. Just make photos, screenshot, tag Testomat, tag Oleksii or me with today's event, with your thoughts, with your insights. It's really valuable. And after his presentation, probably, not probably, you will have a question. So we will have Q&A session. Oops. Yep. So after presentation, we will have a Q&A session. So you can ask Oleksii different questions or maybe questions for me, and we can discuss all of the things together with you. Okay, I see Poland, Kiev, and no more, right? Only from these two cities, our viewers. Okay, okay. I think we can start. Oleksii, could you share your screen?
Yes, let's start. Sorry, guys, I won't sit in front of you because I will work on my bigger screen on my website, so you will see me like this. But anyway, uh, I'm not the most interesting part you will see today. So anyway, okay, I will share my window and bam and bam. But we will start from short presentation. Maybe somebody who don't know me. My name is Oleksii Ostapov. I am a test engineer and I've got more than 16 years experience in test automation, different one with UI and not UI and performance and not even automation of test cases, different experience. Oh, by the way, tell me please if you see the screen, because it would be awkward to tell something about I'm showing and not showing it actually. We'll probably put
Yeah,
YouTube to some
it.
other screen.
I think it's okay. It's good.
Okay. Anyway, I am really glad to share some experience. I'd like to show test automation of API of stateless API. I don't want to make your head ache. I just want some chill and show some examples and just point you in the direction of test automation of API, REST API actually, and have fun and type your questions in the comments. I will check them later, probably after the main part. And my co-host today is Artem. Maybe Artem can introduce himself.
I will
Yeah.
introduce myself later in the end.
Okay. Sorry, I've lost somewhere the link you sent me about yourself. Where you are? Just at least a short introduction. Artem Grigorenko is a QA coach, really smart, really knowledgeable person, awesome guy. And as far as I know, he's a DJ too. And we probably lack some music right now here. Anyway, let's straight forward to the test automation API. The plan for today actually to share some Python project, how I assume will do test automation of some stateless API in Python using Pytest, and how we will report our test results. And actually, my goals, I've started to type them in README. All this information will be available on GitHub. I will share the link in the end. After commit all changes we will do together to this project. And let's start from some basics. I would put probably understanding of the project structure on the first place. And let's review what do we have. Just tell me if you see everything on the screen and if something, if the font size is too small, just let me know. I will increase it more. Right now it's 150%, and probably I can put something like, oops, wrong way, 175 here. Comfort to see. Anyway, we've got typical PyTest project created by me actually yesterday to prepare for the presentation. Let's start from some default stuff like git ignore. That's all files we don't want to be committed to our Git, and PyTest init to set some PyTest configuration. Conf.test.py, it's a file for fixtures and hooks. Usually we want to share for all our tests, and it's empty. We will fill it together today. Some README, obviously, to put some hints for us how to run tests and what our tests about. And requirements.txt. This file is empty, and here we'll put some libraries we need today for testing. And as I already announced, that it would be PyTest, and we probably need requests library because it's needed for to doing HTTP request and handling HTTP response. Meanwhile, what else I missed? Come on. I've got my own hints hidden, prepared in advance. And Obviously, to speed up our test, because we are expecting that we will have a lot of tests, I would say we would add some Pytest XDist. It's the most popular library to make more to run tests and more threads at once. It's really useful. And let's also add Pytestomatio. It's another library developed by me and maintained by only two persons, me and really nice guy called Tico. It's a plugin. It's a library for Pytest to sync your test results with Pytestomatio. We will show how it works later. And also, as I'm using PyCharm, I'm using not just PyCharm, I'm using Pro version. Not sure what benefits right now I will get from the Pro version, but anyway, it's nice to have. PyCharm provides some API testing stuff like Postman, but inside of PyCharm. So it's really nice to try it, because if I want to just check some endpoint quickly, I do not need to log into Postman and send some request and the response. I can do everything here in my workspace. And of course, I've got GitHub Copilot. It's drastically speed up development and testing process. So I would recommend you at least to try, because it's awesome stuff. Also, we've got some folder for tests where we'll have some tests and schemas. Spoilers, I will show for what we need schemas a little bit later. Let's go back to README. So actually, that's it for project structure. It's pretty simple, pretty basic. And we need to understand the basic of stateless API testing. Actually, they're all things you need to know. We've got web server, which communicates with users, with clients, and with other web servers via REST API. REST API is based usually on HTTP. And our goal is to form some data, usually in format of JSON, but it can be any just text information or byte streams or XML. It's actually doesn't matter. But it appears that the most common trend is using JSONs as a main object we are transferring via REST API. And our goal is to form this JSON, send it to web server, get response, and validate if this response is correct. And the most awesome thing about stateless API, I put emphasis on word stateless, because we, as a QAs, do not need to worry about the state of the system, because most APIs we are going to test in real life are actually stateful. It means that state of the system change after every call we are making. For instance, we've got an internet shop and we want to test its API to make some orders. And we are buying something like bottles, I don't know, and we've got in database on the backend 10 bottles. Each time we will request server to buy a bottle, one bottle, we will have 9 left, 8, so on, before we got 0. And the test itself, it will remain request one bottle at once, but as soon as we've run out of stock on the backend, instead of HTTP 20 response, HTTP 200 response, we will got some HTTP 404 because object not found, and it's cause issue. As test engineers, we need to worry about how to handle our tests running the same, no matter how many times we're going to run the test. So I would recommend you just to think about some service API. If you don't have any for your development environment, you can request your dev team to add some developer API just for restock, refill the amount of the bottles or other stuff, just to put system state to the desired condition before you are running a test, because you want to stable configuration, stable data before you're running a test, so you can predict what outcome would be for the system, and you can match it with your expected results. And actually, that's it. Let's go to understanding test approach. What test approach I recommend you today with me to run with me? The reporting and not login, but CI CD execution. So what we are going to test today, actually, this software is not invented by me. It's a very well-known JSON placeholder better type code server. Let me just open it and show you. It's pretty awesome. You can download it as an NPM package for Node.js. It's written in JavaScript or TypeScript, whatever. And it provides some mock API, really easy to use. And we've got here some example we can run and see the results. And if we are using this online JSON placeholder, it's really stateless because we can request some data. Check out how smooth it works. Posts, and we need some post to another data requested and another data responded. And we can actually do not only gets, but also deletes and get, post, put, delete, all operations. All HTTP methods are supported, actually. That's pretty cool stuff. And online, we can delete anytime the post number 1, it still will be there. So actually, system state is not changed. And that's why I picked this example for the webinar today. And if you want actually stateful system, you can download the JSON server yourself, run it locally, put some database, and in this case, the system state will be stateful. So if you delete some post, it will be really deleted from the database on your local run. But it's task for another day. Okay, and let's talk a little bit about the test approach, how we expect to test our API. Well, first of all, I would say that we need some contract testing. We need to check that all API exposed and describe it in the documentation. They are available. And if we are sending some request, we expect at least OK response from the server. Just consider it as a smoke testing. Then after contract testing, we need actually to verify some functional testing. I would say that all functions provided by the system should be checked. So if we are talking about this placeholder API code, and it's kind of API for some blog system with posts or forum with posts, comments, albums, photos, so on, so on, so on. So we expect that I can list all posts as well as I can list a particular post or check posts comment and so on. So I would implement a bunch of tests to verify all functions the server can provide. Then I would include some test design techniques because we are testers, we're just not doing random stuff. And sorry, who is... Okay, then sorry, it seems I'm sharing the wrong stuff. Bam, and I need to entire screen. Okay. Luckily, I've got Artem here, and he just told me that I'm not sharing this awesome JSON placeholder stuff. My bad. Okay, this I believe I should show it again. It's JSON placeholder. Here we've got example. We can run them right here, and we've got a lot of resources like posts, comments, albums. We can check them right here. We can go to posts and we can check some post comments, and we can check comments by ID to, for instance, some query parameter, and all this stuff is working. So that's why I picked this server for our system under test today. Okay, and let's get back to test approach. Our plan is to use some test design techniques and test some, I would say, boundary values. So if we've got 100 of posts, I don't need to check every post because the test will take some time and create some load on the server maybe we don't want, but at least trigger the first post and the last post just to check that all boundaries are working. That's fine for us. And actually, let's put everything here like test approach. And bam, bam, bam. I will copy from my own plan. Bam. And okay, we're doing some test preparation. We are obviously reading docs before doing any stuff. We'll write our test case. We'll skip this part right now, but it's really nice when you do some writing before doing actually the code. Prepare some test data, so you need to review. And for stateless system, we need to handle test data less because it's stateless, no matter what we are doing. We've got some test environment and request service API. We've got it. And our test approach. Actually, I will put it like here. Oops, wrong case. Okay, we will check status code and payloads. And also, as we're checking JSONs, they can be really complicated. I saw JSON objects for hundreds of keys and values, and it's really can be madness to check all of them. But there are some pretty simple solutions like checking schema, and we'll check schema of the JSON we received without actually checking the particular data. And of course, we can check some response time, because why not? Actually, in most cases, you don't need this stuff, but in some rare cases, when you have some NFRs, non-functional requirements, you might want to check that some particular requests are handling in some specific amount of time and not more. Okay, I'm talking too much about the preparation, and let's go actually to start do something. And I prefer to start with conf_test_py because we need prepare our session. So the way we will going to request all our API. And actually, if you are familiar with Python, we can start with requests lib. And requests usage of requests, it's pretty simple. Actually, we can do some codes right here, like requests dot get and put URL or request dot posts. But this approach has some limitations. First of all our requests would be independent one from another. And in real life, usually we're testing some API protected with some authentication. So it would be nice to have some single session so we can log in once, and then we can use this session for all our requests. And also to make our test code shorter, I would suggest to implement some base URL logic. So we shouldn't put for all requests the full URL like HTTP, Google.com, so on, so on. Just we will this base part skip. So how we will do it? Actually, I will change from requests import session. This object actually provides a HTTP session we are looking for, but its session itself doesn't support base URL. So we will create a child class of the session with implementation of this base. And how we will do it, like class base session. And how smart is this? Actually, Copilot already adding some stuff we need. But I see that it adds args and quarks. We don't need it because session doesn't have any input parameters. I will just put here. And the only stuff we need is a base URL, string, and so base URL, and we need override request method used by the session to do all requests. We'll put some URL like base URL and call the super method, so method of the parent class. And that's it. Actually, we can put all of this code to another file just to make it pretty and clean, all file for its purpose. But as we are in demo right now, I will just leave it as is. I can even collapse it. And now we can create fixture to be used by all of the tests later. And for fixture, from Pytest, we import fixture, and we'll create the single fixture of the scope session. It means that this fixture will called only once before all tests started and ends when all tests are finished. So if we log in once, we can be sure that a lot of login requests will be called. And we'll call our fixture as a session. And we can return our base URL, but how we will get our base URL actually? I'd prefer to use some performance variables. I will import OS, it's standard, and I need OS get environ, and let it be some base URL stuff. Okay, and we need to copy our base URL from here and put it here. Base URL. So how does this code work? If there is a environment variable base URL, we will get this value, but if not, we will take this default one. And to be clear, let's add to our requirements another library, which is called pytest.env. And do not forget to install everything you're adding here, like pip install -r requirements text. Come on. Install all packages we are adding. It's done. It was done in advance, but I just want to show you. Anyway, we've got pytest.env, and here we will have file.env. It should not be synced to the Git. So you see it's git-ignore. It's just to not create a real environment variables. We will put all of them to the file here, just for us to be easier to use. Let's go to and put it here without brackets. And we've got our first environment variable base URL. We need it. Okay. And we're returning session. Actually, we can do it like session the okay, we can yield session and we can close it if we need to some closure activities. Actually, it doesn't really matter. And we've got our fixture we can use in all our tests. And let's straightforward move to our tests. Okay, and let's start from tests. Let's test just dev test posts, and we are using what is should be session. We're using our session post, and we are certain that actually we can do like response is okay because it's contract testing. And let's also check some post number 25. Do not forget when you are copy and pasting your methods that all methods should have a unique name, and Pytest requires that all test methods will start with test underscore name. Otherwise, they will not recognize it as test. Right now, you see this green triangle, and boom, you don't see this green triangle. It's just regular method right now. And we can actually even run them. Boom, and it passed. Oh, by the way, sorry, I am going stepping back. In this session, if we need to authorize something like, we can easily do it like session some post data, and we could post some username and password and get some data in the response. Actually, if putting username and password will put some cookies to the session, everything automatically will be stored and you don't need to do some magic to handle it. But otherwise, you can response handle it manually, just like session headers update, and you need to put some authorization, and you can get it from some response stuff. Actually, up to you. It's up to the authorization system you are going to use. I will comment all of this stuff because it's relevant in our case, but just for your information. And let's also check our test endpoints. Albums. I like albums. We're checking it. We see the response. Okay for me. Let it be. Let's check some dev test albums. Okay, and you can continue with this file contracts as many as you want, just to fill all contracts. I will just put to do. And let's switch to another test. Oh, and by the way, actually, I mentioned all of these contract tests as smoke tests, and we actually can specify them exactly as smoke tests. How we can do it? Just from Pytest import mark, and I will put some mark smoke. Okay. All of this would be our smoke tests, and to make all things right, we actually need to tweak a little bit Pytest. We can put some marks. Let me check how should it be done correctly. Markers, okay. And let's use this add ops option like -v. We'll add some variables mod to our test runs for every run. So we shouldn't add this manually anywhere. Okay. This markers configuration just let us know that we've got some markers. Actually, I recommend you to put it, actually all tests should be for regression, but I would hear some single tests, like for what, okay, actually it doesn't matter how to test it. If we have some tests which cannot be run executed in parallel, we should mark them and run separately from other tests just to not mess things up. Actually, it's also related to test data. And let's copy and paste our contract tests and go to schema tests, because schema is more fun tests for me. So how we are going to test schemas? There is a library test, and we will use it to define schemas in our folder schemas. Okay. So let's go back to requirements.txt and add another dependency. It's JSON schema. Do not forget to install it. I already have it. And in schemas, we will import our schemas validate and validation error, because we are going to validate, and def validate schema try. We'll call the method validate schema because Copilot thinks it would be okay name. We'll put some data, we'll put some schema, and let's maybe call it like dict or list, and schema would be respectfully dict or list, and results can be, actually let's have it as a tuple, because first parameter would be just boolean, valid or not, and another would be string with a explanation what is wrong, and none if actually nothing bad happened. And except validation error, we need to return false, like not valid, and message. And in another case, we'll return true and none. Okay, just maybe not so pretty, but actually it will suit our purpose perfectly. And we need to put schemas. We can check again our test endpoint. Let's check our post. We'll see that we've got only 4 parameters here, like user ID, title, and body. The first 2 is integers, another 2 is strings, and we can define our schema for post like here. So it could do type object, and we've got properties, and we are mentioning all of them as required properties. And actually that's it. Number, number, string, string. We can do the same for all stuff, and actually even for user. I did it yesterday, so I will just copy and paste. And actually I not did it yesterday myself. You can check this user schema, how many fields actually user have, and we can ensure that it's indeed a lot of data hidden in the user. I didn't do the schema myself, so each field, because it's boring, it takes a lot of time. Yesterday, I just started programming, and Copilot provided me with the complete schema. And surprise, surprise, it works from out of the box. So I didn't tweak this schema. Sorry, I've got a rate alarm, and now I don't have. Okay, don't worry, I am in quite safe place, I hope, and you're not. Just go to the bomb shelter. Okay, we've got schemas, and we've got validation method for schemas. So let's validate schemas. Let's go to tests and let's test some schemas. I will import from, we'll call it validate schema. And let's keep it smoke because at least one test we need to smoke. And let's test post schema. We're actually doing the same stuff. We will request all posts because we can request all posts at once as a list. And we can validate that for all posts and posts as a JSON, each post contains correct data in the schema. And we can assert result. As we remember, we got here tuple. First part of tuple is Boolean, and another one would put some prompt in assertion if assertion is wrong. And we can run it and take some time, and boom, all schemas, all messages in post response are valid, and they have valid schemas. Actually, we can do the same for some other stuff. Actually, it would be just typical. The most boring part in test automation of any test automation, not only API, that you've got a lot of copy paste. Actually, you've got a lot of endpoints and you need to check all of them. Okay, and I mark two of these tests as smoke just to check schemas and add them to the smoke regression, smoke suite, I would say, and another one just will leave for full regression stuff. Okay, in this way, we can continue to check all schemas of all objects we need to validate in such order. And let's go and test some other stuff like test data, because it's crucial part of test automation. We're going to copy paste again. Okay. And let's assume that some posts are unique and they are fixed and won't change, like post number 1. And this stuff we already tested by another test, but we want to verify, and we've got separate test for this, that response contains payload with ID 1, it's particular one, and title with this title, and body as a long string. We've got at least it contains these, I don't know what actually it is, some text. We can run the test and test passed, and we can just fail it to verify. Yep, it works. Actually, I will leave it with a mistake. Like, let's put it here. Just check our CI/CD when we are going to run our test in CI/CD. Okay. And also, as I mentioned earlier, we need to test boundary values. So I would post another test, and it would be last test, our last post in a row. It's now 100, and we will check it respectfully as the first one. And we also can do it with all data. We can split all information on the server to some equivalence partition, do some boundary value checks if we will have some boundary, or if we have some stateful system, we can use state transition to check all states of the system. Actually, it's a good point for us to remember and verify. Okay, and also with testing of data, we are testing not only payloads. Let's test some headers. Actually, there should not be some meaningful information in headers, but sometimes in rare cases, some information just sent to as headers. And we need to send our test. Let's have some albums here. Come on, I don't want headers. We've got our response, and we need to assert that response headers. Let's check what headers actually can be in albums, F12. And let's go to network and albums. Review headers, response headers. Okay, server, cloud, fair. Okay, and reporting hero, cool. Let's pick at least one of them. Okay, let it be like X powered by. For instance, on some of our project, we've got some E tag, and actually we had some algorithm of generating this E tag. So if you are doing your software testing with API, you can also check this header E tag respectfully, but I will focus on something easier like X power by have the value express headers get powered by, and it's equals to express, and let's check. It works. So do not forget, not focus, if it's required, not only for body, but also for headers. Okay, and if we are talking about contracts, okay, I will put, actually, I will not create another case. I will test like here, def test time response. Let's call it timing posts. Okay, a response object we've got from our session get actually has attribute elapsed, which is represents nanoseconds of time from the request sent and response received. And we can verify if total seconds probably would be less than 1, or we can actually use milliseconds, just multiply by 1000 and check that response time is not less than 300 milliseconds. Let's check it. And it's passed. But actually, I know that with my latency, it's more than 100 milliseconds. So if I run, I would say yes. You can see the test failed because actual timing of the response is 74 milliseconds and expected is less. When you're doing such kind of test, keep in mind that this time includes not only the time server handle your request, it also includes latency. So time message from your client through all of your providers will send to the server and get back. So if you're doing some test checking of NFRs in this way, just make sure you are running your test at least in the same environment, in the same infrastructure. So just to reduce this latency as much as possible. Just keep in mind. And the last but not the least, I will call it test CRUD. Actually, we use it only get request in our API testing, and it's actually pretty small amount of all tests we can use. Let's create test, create post. And actually, we can create post with title full, body bar, and user ID, and verify that post is actually created. And the server says, yes, it's created. It should be even 101. And the thing, pretty awesome thing of stateless systems that we can run it again, and it will create it again anytime so we need. And actually, def test delete. If we delete even post 1, we referring in other testing. It's also deleted, and it would be deleted again. So nice, so easy. And let's try with test put and test fetch. and test. Okay, let's finish here. We can actually do all CRUD operation for all object here we've got for this server just because we can, and we have to do it as a good QA engineers. Okay, we've introduced some amount of tests. We can run all of them from the terminal just to verify all tests are working. One should be failed. Okay, that's nice. We know which exactly test is failed because we make it failed. Then, actually, we are talking almost 1 hour. Let's go to some reporting stuff, how we're going to report it. And I will use help of Testomatio and another plugin to do a nice reporting. So here in requirements.txt, we already got Pytestomatio. And also I will add another reporting stuff developed by myself. Requirements where you are. And it would be, come on, it's not fair. 1 second, please. I forgot the name because it's quite long. CTRF common test report JSON. Let's put it to another Pytest. Pytest JSON CTRF. This stuff is used to, actually we don't need it locally even. We'll put it to the pipeline. Okay, and we are going to our CI/CD stuff. I will create file to github/workflows, and I will name it test.yaml. Okay, schema validation. Okay, whatever. I don't want to create it from scratch, and a lot of QA engineers think that workflow stuff, it should DevOps do it, and it's too complicated, and I totally disagree, because the basic workflow for GitHub Actions, you can just at least Google or ask Copilot to, could you please generate GitHub action pipeline to run my tests. It will think for a while and boom, 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 boom. It's done. Actually, so easy. I will just tweak it a little bit. Here, name. You can put any name you want. Actually, just can leave it as is because it's not a big deal. Here, that would be triggers, how to run tests. Actually, right now it will run only main branch by pull request or by push to the main branch. You can add some okay, I don't remember right now options, but you can do it by manual trigger from the GitHub UI itself. Here, jobs, it would start from Ubuntu latest test. It will actually create Docker container to run all your tests. And the first step for all your workflow actions will be check out your code, like git clone, with just update version to the actual one, the last one. And then we need to set up Python. I will still use the latest step to set up Python. And then we need to install our dependencies. It's actually typical to upgrade pip install upgrade pip. And then we need to install requirements. And then we need install Pytest JSON CTRF common test report format. This stuff will add some pretty cool reporting to our report. And then we can actually run our tests, like in the step right test, obviously, but we will tweak it a little bit. I will add flag for CTRF report to generate report. We need it. I will add flag N for running tests in parallel using Pytest exist, and I will use Pytest report to report tests to Pytest. And here we're using some environment variables, so I will put a bunch of environment variables. Report prods, it actually auto means that system will pick a number of threads respectful to the number of CPU cores. And we need some keys for testomatio, IPK, and testomatio code style. Actually, you can skip this one, but I prefer to use PAP8 code style, so I explicitly put this parameter here. And the last but not the least, I've got step to generate pretty report using another cool stuff. And I'm using it together with CTRF to get some report in the GitHub itself. So we are close to the end. We've got our workflows, and the only stuff we need to do is to sync our tests with the testomatio. I will do it from scratch. I will create some project. I will call it some stateless API test. Don't worry, I will share my secret credentials here, but I will delete this project right after the demo, so I don't mind if you see it. After project and testopath are created, we've here in project settings, we've got API key, we can copy it, and we can use it. Testomatio, put it right here. And also in our workflow YAML, we've got code style. I also want to specify it explicitly here, like pip8. Okay. Now, with our plugin, let's clear everything. And the first step I want to do with Testomatio plugin for Pytest is just send information about all my tests to Testomatio, just to get some unique test IDs. And I will do it like pytest -- testomatio. And oh my God, let me to recover correct flag. It would be testomatio. On N. Okay, it's sync. Pytest testomatio sync. I will run it, and fingers crossed everything will work. Okay, sync is done, and check out our tests. Boom, information successfully sent to Testomatio, and Testomatio assigned unique test ID to all our tests, and our plugin updated each test in our solution with this unique ID for future handling. It's better stuff. I like it. And we can go to Testomatio. We can check where is our tests, and we can see that all folders with all tests here, and actually code of all tests also here. We can check it. I really excited because I implemented this stuff, and I really excited at how does it work. Okay, and we can actually run our tests just to verify that all tests are working. Let's put another flag by Testomatio report. And we can see that it's running online. So each test reports its status right after it was executed. We can just run it again. It's so fast, but actually you can see that numbers are changing. Okay, and actually with it, we are ready with our tests locally. We can deploy them to the server. Deploy them to the Git, actually. We can commit all our files. First tests implemented. and structure created. We're committing our changes, and we can actually do git push. So all our tests sent, and let's check GitHub. Go to QMania, reports, test REST API, and actions. Here we've got, okay, and why don't you running? Okay, because it's master and my workflow is waiting for main, I assume. Yeah, master. Fixed the pipeline commit and push. Refresh actions, and we see that some action started actually. Our pipeline with the latest command, we're checking out our repository, running our tests. Actually, it's collecting data. Sorry for confusing you. Run. Okay, I failed something. Non-time hazard reviewed. Okay. Okay, seems I failed something in pipeline. Actually, it was not part of my plan, but let's fix it together. Oh. Okay, pip install Pytest. Okay, let's maybe turn off parallel run for now, because everything, and also CTRF report. Sorry, it's my bad. Actually, we're using here Testomatio secret with Testomatio secret API key. Okay, and I know how to fix it. I know it takes some time. I hope you are not bored to that yet. Let's go to settings. We need some secrets and variables sections. Actually, I need to validate, handle this error normally. And I will add some repository secret. And I need to call it Testomatio API key. And I can copy it from my environment variable. Here, add secret. Always forgot this infrastructure stuff. So in GitHub, you have to put all your tokens, users, passwords in some secrets, so nobody can read them, even if I want. See, I cannot read it anymore, so it's added once and can be just updated. But I have to change something right now. Let's put some in README, put some space. Don't want to update workflow. Commit and push. Fingers crossed again. Nope, that was not a deal. Okay, silly me. An ID details. Okay. Oh, it's actually not me. It's actually bad pull request I reviewed this morning, and probably I missed this stuff in Pytest plugin. Okay, what should we do? I know what should we do. Let's go to pyp.org and let's pytest and let's check 281 and okay, I will fix it definitely, because we shouldn't let everything be like this. But for some reason it works locally. It's so strange. Okay, but in requirements txt, I need some 270 and test YAML. What is changed? Secret always. Okay, okay, let it be. And okay, how to run tests from the GitHub on demand. On workflow dispatch. Okay, got it. This would be also added here. Workflow dispatch. Save. Commit. And push. Okay, if this also won't work, I will give up for a minute, because it's strange, which works locally. Ta-da-dum, ta-da-dum. Last try for today, because we're actually running out of time. You bastard. You removed all distribution. Okay. Okay. Mhm. Anyway, I'll fix the YAML. I'll, oops. I will put Testomatio report here. Just to fix, I will fix it, and you will find all this code up and running successfully. I believe in few days when I will fix it. Turn off Pytest repo. The most intriguing part failed when I didn't expect. Okay. Actually, it's minuses of live coding session and not pretty recorded everything. Fuck! I forgot. I'm become rushy. Two 0.1. Actually, let's just take latest. Exception. Requirements txt. Commit. Push. Just wasting everybody's time. Just one successful run here without Pytest. All tests are running, one failed. and we're generating pretty report. It's not so awesome as Testomatio report here because here we can see trends and we can set up some email notification. But if you're poor like me, actually you can generate with CTRF test report like this right in GitHub with all information about tests, their time and status. It's pretty nice. Pretty okay, I would say, if Testomatio plugin is not working, but I will fix it tomorrow or day after tomorrow. And actually, that's it for now, because I won't bother you with live fixing of plugin right now and figure out why it doesn't, what the hell is going on, why it's not working in the cloud. Let's check uh, comments if somebody is here still. Maybe Artem.
Some of us are here. For me, it was pretty interesting when you using IDE and Copilot because like some magic and a lot of codes just appear from nowhere and you like coding and coding.
Yeah.
But let's go with some questions, and we have one. Oleksii, what if you have parameterized tests? Does it create few tests in Testomatio or only one?
Only one. We had issue in the first versions, so previously it had created different tests, but now it's only one, and it just contained parameters just for each run of parameterized test.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I hope Alexei answered your question. The other one that was the first one actually. Why Pip? Why not poetry on Superfast UV?
Actually, I love poetry. I just discovered it recently for myself, but poetry, it's another library. You need to install it. You need to when you run it, you have this poetry log and a configuration file and requirements. It's pretty simple, straightforward way for some simple solutions like this. Actually, I used Poetry for Playwright test framework because it's more complicated. It has a lot more libraries included, and I need to handle all of this with my team. So
Yep. One more question that I mentioned. Actually, it was when you wrote about the method for validate schema. Um, so I don't know if it was the question, but why do you need this method def validate schema? You can just simple validate in the following way: validate uh, instance your response schema example. But you need before import, I guess.
actually, I guess I can. That's actually a good point for me because if exception happens in the test method, it actually will fail test anyway. Yeah, you're probably right. We don't need this method.
Okay. So the next comment. So as far as I understood, you need to run command once you have tests to make unique IDs generated for all test methods, right?
You need to run command once you have make unique IDs. Yep. Actually, not once. If you have new tests added later, you can run sync again, and all new tests will be synced. And if you change it, your previous test, they also will be synced, but the IDs of the already synced test will remain the same.
Mm-hmm. And the next one, what if you remove already created tests from repo that already have IDs generated? Do you need to run the command again to regenerate IDs?
Uh, if you remove, you can run test tomato with PyTest with test tomato with additional flag. It's detach, and all tests which are not existing in repo but exist in test tomato will be detached, removed. Actually, there are a lot of parameters added in the documentation in GitHub. You can open and check them.
Mhm. Okay, because we have a delay and you answer quicker than 30 seconds, we probably can need to wait for some other question raised. Okay, okay. Maybe some other questions from you guys while we are here. And that we mentioned that always something happen on production when
Yep.
even if you prepare everything for today or for the demo for presentation, and this like Murphy law, something will go wrong.
Yeah, it's definitely. I checked I created that same project yesterday and put it to a different branch. So actually, I just copied part of my tests from yesterday me when everything is working. But this morning, I decided to merge pull request. I reviewed it and it looks pretty fine, but but not so good as we should have. And actually, we thought a lot with Tico to add some unit tests for our tests, but actually it's not so easy because we need to mock a lot of stuff. Actually, we need to mock Testomato itself to make these unit tests happen and running in the GitHub action pipeline. It's possible, but it's require a lot of time, and unfortunately, neither of us have time.
Okay, and the last one, how does you generate those ID? Does it on Testomatio or it's your solution?
It's Testomatio. We just collect information about all tests as objects and send them to Testomatio in a list. And Testomatio assign when create on own site all these tests, create, assign them IDs, and send the list of IDs back.
Mhm. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Cool, cool. I think we can wrap up today's webinar. And actually, thank you guys for joining us this evening. Thank you, Oleksii, for this pretty interesting demo. And actually, I like, I'm not from automation stuff, but I like how things are going. And for me, it's like, something written with this copilot. But all of the ideas, and I think we will share all the links. You will find the links for the project and for setups and for everything that you saw today on this webinar. And so you can reuse it, or you can just adapt for your project, adapt for your learning more about the PyTest, about Playwright, about uh, Testomatio. So thank you again for joining us, and I wish you peaceful, lovely evening, and see you again probably on next webinars here.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Have a nice afternoon or evening. See ya. Be safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye.